Alright, this is my third video. This video is more of a story than a life lesson, but it will have a moral of the story at the end. So let's get into this. Well, this story takes place back in around 11th grade where we were just starting out to meet our teachers. One teacher I will never forget as long as I live. He was our history teacher, and here's the story of how we almost jumped our teacher. The first day of classes, we all had to introduce ourselves. You know, normal first day stuff. For this video, we'll call this teacher Mr. Limbo. At first, Mr. Limbo seemed pretty cool. He made everybody laugh. But there was something about Mr. Limbo. He was old. Like, I would say probably 50 to early 60s. I think he might be older, but I don't know. He was bald and he had a hearing problem. But to be honest, it seemed like to be a very easy class. And I thought the class couldn't get any better. But then my best friend, William, came into the class with me. Before I tell you more about the story, I need to tell you what type of friendship me and William have. When William and I are together, we can get into all sorts of trouble. Not trouble like smoking and drinking trouble, more like trouble as in we always joke around too much and we get in trouble for that. There was a time where we had to leave class because we were laughing for 20 minutes over something stupid. One of our friends liked this girl, and this girl started with a P. So we would always say that he's working on the P project. I know it was stupid, but we found it hilarious at the time. That was a little side story, but yeah, me and William, we are pretty tight, and if you got a problem with one of us, you got a problem with both of us. Like if one of us said, "Hey dude, let's jump this guy, he's talking smack," the other one would say, "What time are we going?" Like, we are our own gang. We are our own squad. Now that you know the story about William and I, you better understand how much it meant to me that he was transferring to the class. So the first couple of classes went alright, but then came the tests and quizzes, and we didn't do so good. So we asked if we can take our tests and quizzes in another room. He said sure. Later we saw two other guys come in, and we started taking our tests and quizzes together. And they were teachers in this other room, and they helped us out with the assignments, the quizzes, and tests. It's sort of like a study hall where kids go to work, and if they need extra help in class. A friend of William and I usually takes the tests and quizzes with us, but for some reason she wasn't allowed to leave, which is really weird because I never met a teacher deny a student for getting extra help for taking tests and quizzes. Then it turned out that he wasn't just sending us there for quizzes and tests anymore, he sent us there every class period, and he would just send us to another room and give us our paperwork, and we would have to do it in the other room. Then I realized something. He was only sending the guys into the other room. And before you ask, it wasn't because we had a big class. We only had a class of 10, and there was only 4 guys in the whole class. One day around Christmas time, we were coming back to the class to turn in our work, and we see the girls have these candles on their desk. And we asked him if he got anything for us. He said no, these are only for the girls, and he kicked us out of the class, and we had to go back into the other room, even though we finished our work. Let me break it down for you guys. 6 girls got candles, but he didn't have enough money to buy 4 guys anything. Like, I would have been happy with a piece of gum, because that showed that you're not showing favorites, but it's clearly shown that you're showing the girls favoritism. And it only gets worse from there. Like, we realized that we were getting zeros on our homework that we turned in, and we went up to ask him about it, and he said he never got the work. There were major problems with the story because we had teachers in the other room who helped us with these assignments. So when we showed them what work we had to do, they asked, didn't we already do this before? This is where things get really interesting. The 4 guys that were working in the other room were missing different homework. Now you might say, okay, that makes sense, you guys won't be missing all the same homework. Well, we all worked on the projects together. So how can we all be missing different work if we turned it in at the same time together?
Coincidence? I think not!
We learned that he was only just losing the guys' work. The girls' work was absolutely fine. He grades that and he turns it right back to them. I had to do the same paper 3 times, and it wasn't just 1 page. He gave us 8 pages of paper to do. And the papers he was grading, he was giving us 60 or 70s. Now, these papers weren't just like writing papers. These papers were maps that we have to color. How do you get a 60 coloring in a map? I don't think I can tell you how many times my hand got carpal tunnel just by coloring in a map, all for a 60. So we had to deal with him losing our work and falsely grading our work. And this was an everyday thing. So we decided to print out copies about the assignments he gives us. And we actually had to make 3 copies because he lost the copy. So we did what any sane student would do. We told other teachers, we told the school board, we told the principal. This is what they said. Keep working on the assignments and work hard. Like, I don't understand. I think they didn't understand the situation and how furious it was that we had to keep redoing old work only to get 60s and 70s on it. We complained for months about this, and finally the teachers actually did something. They decided to move us back into his class, which was not the problem. Honestly, we just wanted this guy fired. But our school was small and they didn't have any more teachers that could teach history. The only history class was left was honors. So I'm sitting in class one day and the thought came to me, since he favorites the girls, clearly, but does he bird watch these girls? If you don't know what bird watching is, it's like when you bird watch, but you're not watching birds. You're watching girls. So I waited till one of my female classmates and walks up to him and asks him a question, till finally one of them did, and as she's walking away, this man is staring at her Krabby Patty buns. Like, no joke, he was staring hard. Then I noticed he does it for all the girls in the class. I was thinking, this man needs to be stopped. You might say, what's the big deal? All the guys bird watch, which is true. But we were in the 11th grade, and I did the math, and these girls were like 18 or 17 years old. This man was a 60 or 65-year-old man. And I was like, I need to get this man arrested. Because now I just don't like this dude. I can't trust this dude. And I am praising God to this day that my sister never had the class with him. Because if he birdwatched my sister, it's on sight. One day, somebody asked him about his wife, and I immediately stopped what I was doing and perked up. And what he said terrified me. He told us that his wife was like 20 years old. 20 years old. 60 or 65-year-old man. 20-year-old wife. I don't remember the actual age, but I clearly remember him saying 20. Like, everybody else in the class was 16/17 years old. I was shocked. But more importantly, I was getting mad at this guy. Like, let me tell you what type of guy this guy is. One day I went to school and I was freaking out and I had no clue why. I was scared and shaking, and my friend William had to carry me all the way downstairs and we had to wait for the ambulance to come pick me up from school. That was my first ever anxiety attack I ever had. Maybe I'll tell you about it in another video. But I stood out of school for a few days because the anxiety attacks was new for me and I needed time to control it and better understand how I can deal with it. So when I went back to class, I had to pick up all the makeup work that I was missing because I was out recovering. So when I went to his class, he gave me all the work saying that I was missing it, and he was getting pissed off that I haven't turned it in yet. Like, this dude was yelling at me because I didn't turn in work that I didn't have. Like, this guy was screaming at a kid who just discovered he has anxiety problems, and he's mad because I didn't turn in a coloring map. And to make matters worse, he was screaming at me in front of a study hall. My friend's girlfriend saw this man screaming at me in front of the study hall, and she asked me, did he know that you were in the hospital? I said, well, the ambulance came. It was outside his window. I emailed the teachers and him that I'm not going to be in class. So you would think he would know. So yeah, the love that I have for this dude is like non-existent. But then he did something that really made me mad. He started bird watching a girl that I was really close to. Now, before you say dating, she was dating somebody else. But we all have that person that we're overprotective of. And then I had to do something I didn't want to do ever. Hey, William. It's time to pull up. Let's teach this guy a lesson. Hello, honey, I'm home. Oh, great, how was your day? It was great. I failed these boys in my class again. Oh, how wonderful. Yes, indeed. Wait, do you hear that? Obviously, that didn't happen because me and William are not in jail. But honestly, this guy still makes me mad to this day. And the reason why I didn't go through with my genius plan is because they told us that they were not going to hire him back, which they didn't. And also the reason was I couldn't find his house. But anyway, that is the story how we almost jumped the teacher. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please press that like button and subscribe.
Boost your morale.